what are the differences with this Shanling UA7 here and ONIX Beta, which was like literally released very closely between the two of them. Yep. And in fact, let's just get into some of the details, like with the price. So Ben, if I'm not mistaken, this UA7 is priced at $269 US, right?
269, yes.
Current price.
Yeah.
Okay, as of this November. And this ONIX Beta is priced a bit higher, almost $80 US difference.
349.
349. So you might be wondering, what are the differences? Does it justify to say upgrade, or should I upgrade or not upgrade? That is the question normally. But before we do that, let's just talk about ergonomics, the build. Okay, the main difference, it starts with the deck inside. Okay.
Yeah.
Ben, if I'm not mistaken, this ONIX Beta runs on CS43198, right?
Yes.
With
dual.
Yep. And this one runs on ESS Saber. Can you please quickly check?
9069.
9069.
Yep.
Only one, right?
Yep.
So ESS Saber.
Yep.
But at least on the tube compartment, they use the same, right? Gen 6418. Yep. Two of them.
Yes.
Okay. And even the output power is almost identical.
Yeah.
At around 500.
The Xi2 for the balance side is 550 milliwatts. This is 577 milliwatts for the UA7.
Almost like no difference there.
Yeah.
Okay. But let me just show you. Okay. The UI and the build itself, I will admit openly, after looking at the two of them, let me just take off this nice case at which is being also offered by this beta.
Which you have to buy separately.
Oh, you buy separately?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me correct
I think so. I bought it separately. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this thing is that, okay, almost similar kind of size. You see that? Okay. And you can see the tube directly here, literally, okay, for UA7. And this one, you can still see the tube if it slides up here at the window here, and at the back, of course. So now, it depends on what kind of person that you are. Some people say that, hey, I love the look of Beta because it is like rounded. It doesn't have any kind of sharp edges. And it is also all black with gold accent, okay? And I love this. Admittedly, I love this when it comes to taste and preference. But if you love something which is a bit more modern, a bit more, let's say, artistic looking, this is actually quite beautiful because you can literally see the tube here. I'm not sure if it also makes this thing like quite possibly easier to replace the tube, which I cannot answer now, of course. And of course, one of the major, this to me is major. See here, rotary volume adjustment, at which you can turn the volume like this. You see that? 100 step independent volume adjustment, while this Beta here uses the traditional up and down. So it also actually important because some people might say that, especially if you are like me, I always love this kind of rotary volume adjustment because it makes thing fine tuning so very effortless. Yep. So, meaning that it's less likeliness to fumble with this and this. And this also serves as a function button, and this is a function button. Otherwise, when it comes to interface itself, okay, both of them, of course, no surprise here, carries 3.5 mm single-ended and 4.4 mm balance, and same here. But the spacing, you notice a difference. To some people, that also might make a difference, okay? Because some crazy people might even want to put, let's say, 3.5 and 4.4, use both of them. You can't do this on this UA7 because it's just very narrowly spaced. Small differences, but can make huge differences to other people. And of course, last but not least, the cable here, you notice? Being more expensive, probably because you are also paying for this cable here, at which I will talk a bit on this after this with Ben. Because UA7 comes only with this stock looking rubbery type of cable, USB Type-C cable, inside this very small box, okay? Pretty much those are the physical differences. And let's just quickly have a look at the UI. This is how you trigger it, like this. And as you can see here, gain, UAC mode, tube mode, solid state mode, filter, and slightly different. The main difference with this filter, as I noticed, is that this UA7 doesn't seem to offer, let me see if they have
no NOS. Yeah.
No
NOS. Yeah.
NOS. This is always like filtration. There's always something there. This one will offer non-oversampling.
Yeah.
So if you want bit perfect without any kind of filtration, easy decision, you go to ONIX Beta. And of course, the wheel adjustment, form, blah, 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 all those standard things, okay? So these are all the important things. So You see the interface, it's actually kind of like, I think a bit more pleasant looking as compared to the smaller display, more like, Casio watch kind of display from this, right? But it's enough, it's good now. I'm not going to complain about that. Both of them being dongle, first and foremost, assuming that you are doing it like me, okay, or even like Ben, attaching it to your phone like this, which is a 5G phone by the way, okay, this thing picks up RF interferences even more notorious than this. Okay, what does it mean? It means that if you are walking, putting it in your pocket and it dangles like this, you see how it works? Dangles like this. This is inside your pocket and this is, I can even show it to you right now. Put it like this. And usually my dongle will dangle like this. So what will happen is that whenever my phone have a fluctuation with the signal, I am hearing quite a lot of RF interference, like it's so very annoying. The only way to mitigate that, if that thing bothers you a lot, then you have to run on airplane mode. But it is less likely to get RF interferences here. Major thing also to consider. This is one of the key thing why the problem with powerful or great dongles is that they are always have this issue with RF interferences. And then secondly, of course, temperature. Let me see. Actually quite impressive for both of them, because this one, if you have seen my video with Ben before, this thing actually runs really cool, and similarly I think the same can be said for this. It does not exceed 30C. In fact, I have used this extensively before. I place it in my pocket, in my bag and everything. The highest it ever goes is around 33 only, which is very impressive, because you have to remember some dongle can run up to 35, 36, 37C human temperature. All right. So the next one is that, of course, power. Okay, you might be wondering what kind of power do they do? Like Ben mentioned just now, close to around
550 and 574,
right,
577,
20 milliwatt. Okay.
Yeah.
The actual delivery, once tested using this something like this Sennheiser HD600 here, this one actually rated slightly lower, right? This beta
550, yep.
550, and what I needed volume. Okay, let's just get a hold of it. On UA7, 60 out of 100. 60 out of 100 to get proper listening headroom to the kind of sound which I would consider as satisfying, to the kind of sound which is actually almost comparable to some very good desktop DAC amp. But this one, slightly lower on paper, but surprisingly, it needed only 58 out of 100. So meaning that this thing is actually 2 steps lower with the volume itself in order to achieve similar level of loudness. Now, that is food for thought. That is why when I was talking to Ben, you cannot simply just 100% trust specification on paper. Sometimes listening to it, then you would know what are the differences. But otherwise, both of them are super powerful, equally matched once you match the volume, right?
Yep.
All right, now Ben, the most interesting thing. Let's talk about the sound itself. Let's talk about solid state first.
Okay.
Once you switch to solid state, both of them you can switch to solid state. Remember, Cirrus Logic CS43198, ESS7
969, yeah.
Okay. What is your impression on them, the differences?
This is a very clearly ESS Saber sound. So it's a bit sharper, it's a bit brighter, and there's a glare at the top. The tuning, it's a bit thinner sounding than this. The ONIX has a fuller body, has a fuller sounding body than that. So yeah, it's a smoother. This is also smoother. Yeah.
So this is actually something which is totally the same thing that which I'm hearing, because running on solid state, this definitely offer ESS Saber kind of sound signature.
Yeah.
And if you know what I'm talking about, it is pretty like that glare on the upper region, from upper mid-range all the way to treble. It seems a bit more aggressive, a bit more pronounced. Okay, and this is a bit more smoother, because Cirrus Logic tend to be a bit more airy yet smooth. But how about the detail level? Is it like comparable between the two of them?
I couldn't really tell much difference. So if there was, it's very, very little. Yeah.
All right. Okay. And another thing, in relation to the power that we mentioned just now, you tried this also with highly sensitive IEM, right?
Yes.
What are the reaction that you see? Do you always run on high gain or low gain?
Low gain is good for both of them. Yeah.
Low gain for both of them, and no floor noises at all.
No floor
right?
noises. Okay. Black. Yeah.
So that is the differences in solid state. But the reason that you might want to buy these two is because you want to run tubes. I always mention this, and I'm just gonna say it again. Okay, if you want tube experience in a dongle form factor, you get something like this. These two. Okay, so having similar, identical Gen 6418, what's your take on it?
Okay. So let's start with the UA7. So the UA7 has a clean sound. It's quite smooth, and it actually need to talk about them in comparison rather than on its own. As a tube dongle, it doesn't sound super tubey. It's the tubiness is there. There is the holographic presentation does come across pretty well. It does have a slightly more of a mid-bass focus than this one. And the treble, the mids are smooth. The treble is also slightly smoother, maybe by 1%, okay?
Remember mentioned earlier that this one, when in solid state mode, kind of a bit sharp sounding.
Yeah.
Does it mean that switching to tube mode, you get a bit more of natural analog organic?
Yes, you do. It doesn't, the saber sound doesn't actually impact on when you're in tube mode. Yeah, it's nicely negated, nicely covered up.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is still smooth, and even the treble sounds slightly smoother than the ONIX. Okay.
Okay.
This sounds warmer, more analog.
Warmer, more analog.
More analog. A bit more body to the mids, and the treble is slightly more rolled off than that. So this has
in tube mode.
In tube mode, this has less air than this, less sparkle and less shimmer than the UA7. Okay.
Okay.
And then
the most important part.
And then,
exactly. Okay. Just in general, would you say that the differences between the two of them?
Yeah.
It sounds to me there are differences, but how much is it? Would you say that is this like a different dongle altogether, or are they similar or not similar?
Very different. They sound very different. Very different.
Very different.
Very different. You can tell this is more analog sounding, this is less analog sounding.
Yes.
This has more note weight, more body, this is less.
And the next question, which I think many people would be asking, if they were to compare this with nunchaku, then how would this fit against nunchaku? In terms of tonality, timbre, and also technicalities.
I think the nunchaku has still a smoother sound.
Smoother sound.
Yeah. But which also means that you lose some of the detail that comes out from the nunchaku.
So meaning to say that UA7 is a bit more analytical as compared to nunchaku.
Yes.
But in exchange, nunchaku is slightly warmer and more an organic sound.
Yeah.
And ONIX Alpha is actually ONIX Beta, is actually similar kind of nunchaku sound but better.
Better, yes.
Yeah.
There's more texture in the
so you get the kind of relationship correlation there. Okay, you get the idea already.
Yeah.
And now let's just talk about something very interesting. Why they are different in terms of cable here. I'm just gonna say it that way. When I first listened to this UA7, I told myself, wow, I know this sound. This is definitely, better-ish kind of sound. To me, pretty much if you are not being clinical about it, listening to it, they sounded almost identical, okay? Almost very, very similar in many ways. I mean, casual listening, okay? You can't really tell the difference. But once you switch between them, then you find that, hey, this one have a bit more of natural analog sound, okay? And the reason for that is that, Ben, you explain a bit more.
So then
what happened
during my testing, I took this out.
Okay.
And I switched over to the UA7's cable.
Okay.
And they sound the same.
They sound the same. Okay, let's just repeat that. Which can you literally show them the audience? Okay. Assuming that this is how they came with this cable. Okay.
Yes.
So show them what you did.
So I just did this. All right.
Okay.
So,
like that.
To be thorough in my testing, let's see whether this makes a difference. I put it in. Like, hey, wait a minute. It's identical. The only difference is a 1% treble smoothness in the UA7.
1%.
Probably 1%. You don't pay attention. It's identical.
Yep. Okay. And it is the same for me as well. Okay. It's the same for me. Okay. They are identical the moment you use this setup. Because
Yeah.
originally, remember, let me just repeat this, okay? ONIX Beta comes like this, okay? And remember I mentioned you probably pay a bit more because of this premium cable here.
Yeah.
And it comes like this. But once you switch it like this become this and this become this.
Yeah.
And this thing become Shanling UA7.
Yes. Yes. So,
Mind-blowing.
if you don't believe in USB cable differences, I got nothing to say to you.
It's okay.
I didn't think
Yeah.
there was going to be any differences. Let's just
Yeah.
swap it and try it. And
We are just saying what we are hearing, okay? And we hear differences. And I can actually relate to this because I have done some testing as well with other dongles before using DD Hi-Fi cables, which are very amazing shielded cable, by the way, and it behaves similarly. So in return, what I'm saying to say is that, right, in this kind of configuration, they are both identical. But I think at the end of the day, the key factor of deciding between which one is that boils down to features, boils down to ergonomics. I haven't mentioned yet, okay, ONIX Beta is still the most efficient when it comes to use as a portable device because it drains your phone battery, assuming that you have a similar kind of phone like me, like Xiaomi Mi 90, 4000 mAh battery, which is not very healthy. I was able to get around 10 to 11 hours running USB exclusive mode in high gain 4.4 mm balance, driving magnetic planar IM. This one, unfortunately, I was only able to push at around 6-7 hours at best. So those are important factor. And remember, I mentioned earlier, this one picks RF interferences easier than this. So you get less interferences here, but more interference here. This thing actually behave like some R2R dongle, which is surprising because this is not even R2R. R2R dongle are notorious for picking up RF interferences. Okay, something like RU6 or even high BFC6. But this one behave like an R2R when it comes to that element. So other than that, of course, I think can't go wrong with any one of them. You just need to understand what are the differences because both of them eventually offer the same kind of high quality experience portably for tube lovers. Because I think if I were to use the both of them, definitely, how many percent, how much time do you spend using both of them on solid state?
No.
Only for,
Just for testing.
just for testing purpose.
Yeah.
Same with me.
Yeah.
I switch on tube all the time, man.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
All right. The only reason I use solid state is because I want to test.
Yeah.
To see the differences. Because if we talk about solid state, then we go for something like DC Elite or even DC O7 Pro or even Questa M15.
A dedicated solid state.
Which I
dongle
believe
better,
would offer better kind of rendering of solid state sound. But tube sound, these two are one of the best.
Yeah.
Good?